Let's go to 5 headlines. Number 1, Kanye West appears to actually be running for president. It seems. I admit that comes as a bit of a surprise to me. I assumed that this was all a stunt to sell albums, which I'm still not convinced it isn't. I think maybe that is what this is. But he did hold an actual campaign rally of sorts this weekend, and he's got petitions to get him on the ballots in various states. I don't know what the end game is. Maybe the end game is 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Who knows? The Kanye doubters like myself, it's as if we've already forgotten that a reality TV game show host won the presidency in 2016, despite how improbable that seemed at the time to people like me. In any case, the highlight of Kanye's event, without question, I think, was his very emotional and compelling discussion about abortion. And he reveals some things that was new to me. I'd never heard this before. I'm not sure if he talked about it publicly in the past or not. But he reveals why the issue is so important to him and why he takes it so personally. Watch this.
And she said, I'm pregnant. And I said, yes. And I said, no. And I'm going to tell you what was in my mind. She was crying. She said, I just came from the doctor. I was like, oh my God, what's in that baby? Because I was having the rapper's lifestyle. So she said she was pregnant. And for 1 month and 2 months and 3 months, we talked about her not having this child. She had the pills in her hand. And people know these pills where you take the pills, and if you take it, it's a wrap. The baby's gone. My mom saved my life. My dad wanted to abort me. My mom saved my life. There would have been no Kanye West because my dad was too busy.
Now, Kanye has obviously sustained a lot of criticism recently when he put out the Christian album, and he was coming out in support of Donald Trump, even though I guess he's backtracked from that recently and said he doesn't support Trump anymore. But all of that criticism was nothing in comparison to what's coming to Kanye now. Because once you start talking about abortion, and especially you talk about it the way that he is, that's a powerful testimony. Not only as a man who, as he says, almost was never born, and his life was saved by his mother, but he's admitting that he himself, if it were up to him, would have aborted his child. And his wife stepped in and said, no, we're not going to do that. And now he's looking at his daughter and is obviously grateful every day that he didn't make such a horrible choice. That's a very powerful testimony. To hear from someone, a man, a black man, and the left cannot tolerate that. They can't have someone going around saying this kind of thing about abortion, their holy sacrament. So just watch. If you thought it was bad before, you're going to see the treatment now that Kanye gets, and it already has been ugly. Number 2, as we get close to, I guess, our 3rd straight month of leftist violence and chaos, there are no signs of it letting up. Here are just some examples over the weekend. Here are leftists in Seattle breaking into an Amazon store to steal stuff. And then we go over to Portland. There's rioting in Portland featuring the familiar serial arson. And here are some Antifa terrorists trying to start fires in the city. And it's not just Portland and Seattle either. Let's be clear about that. 18 officers were injured while protecting a Christopher Columbus statue from being torn down in Chicago. And you could see how they were injured. Here are the quote-unquote protesters throwing rocks and bottles and other assorted projectiles at the officers. Remember two things, though, folks. Number one, first of all the people you've seen in those videos, those are poor, starving children who just want some bread, according to AOC. They just want bread, that's all. Why won't someone give them some bread? That's all they're looking for. They're going into an Amazon store looking for bread. I don't think they're going to find any there. But that's it. These are starving people who desperately they're just committing crime out of desperation because they're on the brink of starvation, and they figure the only way to survive is to throw bottles at police officers. Makes a lot of sense. And second, also remember that even in spite of everything you've seen there and everything we've seen over the last 2 or 3 months, we should really be worried about the real problem, the real threat is that federal law enforcement officers in scary camo uniforms are, quote unquote, abducting people off the street, otherwise known as making arrests. Because after that one video that we played last week, of some police officers in uniform saying police went and quote unquote kidnapped someone and put him in an unmarked van. And we're supposed to see this as some horrible new innovation by the police. No, unmarked vehicles are very common. Police have been using them for a very long time. And kidnapping someone off the street, otherwise known as making an arrest. That's what an arrest is. Are we now saying that arrests have to be consensual? Is this a no means no situation where the person could say, no, officer, I prefer not to be arrested today. In fact, maybe try back tomorrow, but I'm just not in the mood for an arrest. Oh, okay, if you don't want to be arrested, then never mind. Have a great day. And we laugh about it, but that is really actually what the left wants. That's basically their vision of how policing should work. Number 3, reading from the Daily Wire, it says, a pair of doctors in Australia want to do away with terms like Adam's apple and Achilles tendon, with one doctor calling them misogynistic. Dr. Kristen Small, a Queensland specialist obstetrician, gynecologist, and anatomy lecturer, calls for the terms to be phased out, saying that they represent older generations. I think we have personal choice to decolonize our language, and these historical terms will fade out, says Small. She still teaches the terms known as eponyms for exam purposes, but notes that there are alternatives for the dead man's names. She says the century-old anatomical terms are named after old men, kings, and heroes. And I guess we got to get rid of Adam's apple because it's believed to be named after the biblical figure of Adam. Okay. Of course, Achilles tendon named after the Greek hero of the Trojan War. I don't know why that's sexist exactly, but apparently it is. We have to get rid of that. You know, this is another thing that we kind of laugh about because it's so silly, and it is silly. But we always have to remember with these PC name changes, there's something nefarious under the surface of this, and because it's all about control. It's about controlling what we say, how we speak, controlling the language. It's something the left has been doing for a long time, and they've been very successful. It's been one of their most successful ploys and tactics. Hey, you, you right there. Hit the subscribe button right now. Do it right now. I thank you for your compliance. It's somewhat appreciated.